Wait, are we live right now?
Yes, we're live right now.
Okay. As in, can they hear us, or is this the beginning?
They can come. Comes to a live stream, asks if we're live right now.
I just showed up. I've been here for 15 minutes. Kira Fontaine, welcome in.
Welcome in. Announcement. Hello, everybody.
We cannot hear you. Great.
Yeah,
Tim.
So we can reveal some
We can
stuff.
hear but not see. They can hear us.
My face looks like a game controller, so you can probably see it.
No.
Why is everybody trying to get our secrets?
We can't hear you. We can
You
hear
guys are
you.
lying to us. They're
Dretty,
liars.
Eric, the writer, Nacho, and Hot Dog.
You can't trust chat.
Hello, hello, Matt JBR. I can hear you, tis Backy. Good shit.
It's a joke. What's a joke? Knock, knock. Knock, 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 knock.
Who's there? Who's there,
Orange.
Tim? Orange? Orangey. I'm glad you didn't say yellow.
Did you just ruin? No, banana, bro.
Oh,
you
sorry.
ruined my joke and you had the wrong punchline. I'm quitting this stream. I'm enraged by that. Who
That is,
finishes a joke with the wrong punchline?
That is the. Oh, I just pinged. Goddamn, me and Tim real quick. Very community live stream right now.
Never trust the internet. I agree with that. Bim's on the internet. I don't trust him. Thank you, Whitefinch. It's banana. That's the joke. The fruit joke is way better than that. Would you use a color joke? You finish a fruit joke with a color? Yellow is my favorite fruit.
Hey, listen. You didn't define that it was orange before you the punchline.
Yeah, but like you used the format
said-
of the joke, so you must have heard the joke before.
Listen, the
But
British
you used
version.
the color of the fruit.
The British version of the joke is yellow. I'm telling you,
It's not, I don't think that's true.
it is true.
I
Listen,
think you're making that up. That's
Orange,
no. You're trying
glad.
to defend yourself now.
Oh no, it is banana.
Your brain was just like bananas are yellow. So
Oh
finish that
my
with-
gosh, guys, this is
Did
all
you
it takes.
Google it?
I did just Google it. Yeah.
Okay. All right, you ready for this?
GameDev.tv.banana. I can count to
I
yellow.
wish.
Oh, yeah.
When Rick goes on vacation, I'll take over. Change the domain name. GameDev.banana.
British version equals yellow.
That's such a nerdy joke with the U. You guys, okay, listen, I'm one of the only Americans in GameDev.tv. We've got Brits and Australians, and the amount of times I have spell checked and corrected words that everybody's like, wait, what did you do? But they show up as red squiggly lines on my Notion.
Well, do you remember that we had an argument once about crane? Do you remember I was like, oh, is there a crane in this pack? And someone was like, oh, you misspelt it. It's like, well, no, I didn't. And then we were just arguing semantics.
Yeah.
Happens all the time, guys. Don't get
All
in
right.
trouble with Americans.
All right, ready?
Oh yeah, Orange, you glad he Googled it?
Aren't you glad you're here on our stream? Welcome, everybody.
Welcome,
My name is Tim
everybody.
Buswick. This is Bim Buswick. And today we're going to talk about stuff, not jokes. We're not going to... I'm kind of still upset about that, to be honest. That was such a good joke.
Ruined your punchline.
You ruined it with a color.
Sorry, Tim. Real sorry about that.
So today, I've got a couple things I want to go over because there's a couple things that happened last week, and I think we should talk about them. Game dev related. And then we'll, I don't know, hang out. We'll do whatever. Vertex Rage, Ryder, Whitefish, Flawed Games, Eric. I'm gonna butcher your name. I'm sorry, but Yavuz. I think Wizen. Nacho. I know how to say that. I know how to say nachos and hot dogs.
Nacho and hot dogs is where is Rick?
Those are my people.
Listen. I'm Rick. Okay. He had a lot of plastic surgery.
He's Rick Roland.
Listen, we may have a video of Rick Roland somewhere. Ready to
You can change your name to Rick.
Can I?
Listen, he's not. No.
How do I do that?
Okay. Let me share my screen because I want to talk about this. And I wanted to get your guys' opinion because this is interesting. So as we know, Unity made a bunch of pricing changes last year, and then everybody got mad, and then Godot did really well, and go Godot. So they finally, after making their CEO resign, they finally were like, all right, you know what? Actually, that was a bad idea. Actually, that was, what am I showing? What window am I showing? I'm showing the wrong window. Well, buy the Sci-Fi Mega Pack out now. You should do that. Hold on. This one. Boom. This is Game from Scratch. He's a good dude on YouTube. You guys should go watch him if you don't watch him already. But he's got a blog here and he posts his video or his articles. But yeah, so they finally said, that thing we definitely said we weren't going to do, that we did anyway, that we retroactively changed the terms for, that we made a bunch of people upset about, that we made the CEO resign for, and then we said we weren't going to do. But now, with a new CEO, we officially are not going to do it. So that happened. Right. I'm glad that happened. I don't think anybody expected anything else. Okay. I don't think, I think it's too late. I think it's way too late. I think it's been almost a year. Yeah. I think people have a year into Godot now. I think, I think Unity is a great tool, and I hope that they pay more attention to their users. Moving on. Today,
on exactly the 1 year anniversary of Unity's biggest mistake.
Yeah. Is it? Wait, what's the date where that happened? Is this the anniversary?
A year to the day of the article.
We made a video about it. That's how I'm gonna date it. It is 1 year ago. Let me see. This was like a couple days after. Does this not tell you? September 15th. Oh, so yeah, it did. Oh, did they really like?
They did it.
They were like, it's the anniversary of our mess up.
Let's go back. Let's get rid of it.
Sticking with Unity, good. I think. Listen. I think Unity is a great engine. It's not for me, but I think it's a really powerful tool. It's got a lot of people behind it. It's got a lot of assets and valuable community stuff. So if you're using Unity, I don't think this should dissuade you. As much as people were upset that like, hey, Unity's doing a thing, so I'm gonna move. I think that was what we needed as a community, because it said to Unity, hey, your customers don't like this, and then they reversed those changes, which is cool. Yeah. So I think it worked out.
I think someone's saying staying with Godot. Happy for all the Unity folks though. Yeah, I think there was someone last stream literally asking, because of this, is it viable to still be using Unity in 2024? And well, I guess now, yeah. Here's the deal. I think because someone brought up Rick's video. Rick did make a good point in that video. He's basically like, yo, this isn't gonna affect you at all, right? So keep making games in Unity and don't freak out about it, which I think was a great point. I think the point that upset people was not the pricing changes, it was the retroactive license changing. So they said, remember that license you agreed to in Unity, whatever, 2.7? They were like, well, this change applies to that too, even though you didn't agree to that. Yeah. And everybody was like, hold on, I'm 2 years into my game on that version of Unity. You can't just like change the license. So I think people were really upset about that, and they weren't upset about even this specific change, but the fact that a company would retroactively change license terms on them. I think it spooked a lot of people. Yeah. So, because if they can do that, what's going to stop Unreal doing that? Godot doing that?
or them doing it again with
them,
a more aggressive business model, right? Yeah. So
yeah. So we're concerned that Unity is bleeding money. Interesting. If Godot wasn't free, this would have meant more, says Shadow. What do you think to that, Tim? You think that's true? If
free's a weird word though, because like it depends on what level of game development you're at, right? Like technically, if you're an indie who's gonna maybe launch a thing on Steam, Unity and Unreal are practically free anyway. You can download them, and like I think the Unreal, whatever the Unreal license is, I think it kicks in at $100K.
Right.
So you have to actually make $100,000 to
at that point. It's so far beyond that it doesn't really make a difference.
Creating games, yeah, I think lifetime gross revenue of above $1 million.
Wow.
So you've got to make $1 million to owe Unreal Engine anything. So look, I want people to be successful, okay, but I have yet to make $1 million from game dev. So like, you know, this is essentially free.
I think that, you know, if you do make $1 million from game dev, this is probably the last thing I'm going to worry about, is paying back Unreal.
Right. At that point, and it was the same argument with Unity, right? Like if you're rolling in dough from a mobile game, you can afford to pay that. But still, it was the retroactive license that people were freaked out about.
Wait, Unreal Engine has a free version? I didn't know until now.
Well, you should download this, bro.
Unreal Engine.
I had a course on it. I happen to know a spot that
do the best courses.
Yeah, we got the action combat game that came out I think a month or two ago, which is pretty sweet. 100K 100% is a success, right? And that's where I think it used to be lower. I think they raised it to $1 million, competing with Unity. But I think Unity is something similar. Let's check that for Unity license royalty. For just no, license is the wrong word. What do you call it? Royalty fee? I think you have to be part of Unity Pro, right?
I'm not sure. Unity's can't.
I think it's if you're pro, then it's like it's 200K. Okay, I can't find it.
Suran says Unity is 200K now. Interesting.
Unity keeps it low, but still, like as a hobbyist, you know, I think my game on Steam made like 12 grand total. So, I mean, I didn't have some knockout hit. I just had like a run-of-the-mill platformer. But yeah, it's harder to do than you think it is, right? Like, it's so essentially, that's my point. Is essentially these engines are free, you know?
Yeah.
So Godot, I personally like Godot, but like I also like use Linux and I use like Blender and I use open source programs. I like the fact that the software is developed by people that use the software, not like some, you know, corporation's interest. But not everybody cares about that stuff. So like, you know, use the engine that's good for you.
The writer says, I feel like the challenge of Unreal Engine is making a game that doesn't look just like all the other Unreal Engine games. I think that's a real good point. I think we've seen a lot of sort of AAA graphics, you know, generic third and first person stuff coming out of Unreal Engine. But you know what? I've seen a lot of people fight back against that. I've seen a lot of Instagram pages that have been promoting these new projects, and people can tell. People are just like, look, you're just using the default character stuff. You're just using, you know, real obviously flipped assets.
Unreal stuff does look so good, though.
It does look good.
By default, dude, you open the box and it's just like, oh, it looks so good. There's always going to be like asset flips and stuff like that anyway. And it sucks because I think players on Steam we've seen them accuse, oh, look at that GameDev.tv. I've seen players accuse people on Steam of making an asset flip, and that's a blow to like somebody that put heart and soul and love into their game, right?
Assets, yeah.
It's like, yes, I use assets, but I made a thing from my heart, and you're calling it an asset flip? Like that's kind of a
yeah. I use Unreal Engine for the past years. I want to do indie games, cartoony looking, stuff like that. Do you recommend Unity or Godot for a beginner programmer? Want to learn C#? Any thoughts on that, Tim?
If you want to learn C#, I think Unity is best. Godot has C# integration, but granted, it's been a while since I checked. But the C# integration was kind of like, it seemed like it was kind of shoved in there. It didn't seem like super native, and there was a bunch of stuff you had to do to get C# working right in Godot, whereas like it's super native,
right,
for Unity. But if you're flexible on the language, I like Godot, and GDScript is got a lot of shorthands that make it really easy to do.
Yeah, I think we may have talked about this, but I had a thought, guys. Do you care? We may have talked about this a few streams ago, but just looking at these Unreal images now, and Tim, you're saying right out of the box, Unreal Engine games look good. Guys, do you care about graphical quality of the games you play? If you see a new game, a trailer for a game, or you see screenshots from a game, how much attention do you pay to whether it's photorealistic or trailers often include a reflection shot. They'll do a close up of a puddle and they'll have a character running over it. How much do you guys really care about that? I'm curious. Some people really do, some people really don't. I have a friend who refuses to buy games unless they're sort of photorealistic, graphics first, graphics intensive, and I'm just the complete opposite. I couldn't care less, to be honest. But I'm just curious because a lot of people pick up Unreal for that good, for those good graphics. But I'm thinking, well, I don't think it matters. Graphics does not equal games. Yes and no, depends on the type of game. But personally, yes, says Mihail. Art direction means more. I agree with you, Shadow. I agree. Art direction over graphics.
That's a good point. There's a difference between graphic fidelity and art direction.
Yeah.
And some people think more polys equals more better, but or more lighting equals more better. Not the case. Some games look really good with just their style,
Yeah, for sure. Art style is way more important. Realism can be a part of that, but I feel like a lot of, especially AAA studios, which I know we're not, so we shouldn't dwell on it too much. But especially AAA studios, they're really pushing the realism equals better at the moment, and they've just lost the art style completely. Only really play one heavy graphics game at this point. What game is that, Kira? If you don't mind me asking. Stardew Valley is one of the best games ever.
Stardew Valley is pretty great.
It is pretty great, actually.
It's still, dude, Stardew Valley current Steam players. This game impresses me every time. I'm just like, bro, there's 42,000 people playing this game that came out how long ago? Right now.
Yeah.
All-time peak is 250,000 people. The 24-hour peak is 70,000.
Yeah.
This isn't purchasers. This is just people playing it right now, which is insane.
I feel like realism in indie, this is a great point, writer, actually. I feel like realism in indie kind of tricks the devs/devs into thinking they're closer to finish than they really are. Yeah, and that's, I feel like, a something Unreal Engine does. I think that's why people go to Unreal, because they open Unreal, they haven't even begun their project, and already, it's ray traced. Right, or already the lighting is fantastic. You've already, you look like you've got a finished product. All you've got to do is, swap out the character model. But I feel like it's a trick. It's a trick, and people feel maybe demotivated by that. I
do think game engines in general are getting better. So they're, rather than show you guys ads the whole time. I think the barrier to entry for game dev is getting lower, and the average graphical fidelity is getting higher.
Yeah.
So it's getting easier than ever to make games that look better than ever, which is cool. But it also means that sort of, I think gamers are going to pick up on that. And while a couple years ago, just having an Unreal Engine game was, whoa. Now not so much. Now there's some people that have maybe skewed that sentiment a little bit.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think the PS5 Pro is a perfect example of us finally hitting the wall. I've seen a lot of backlash. Jokes on them.
I haven't heard anything about that. What's going on with PS5 Pro?
Well, I'm not super informed. So guys, if you've heard otherwise, but I've seen a lot of people talking about how this ain't good, they're not going to buy it.
Future.
It's it's real bad. It's like you have to pay extra for disc slots, I think, and all kinds of crazy stuff. I think they're just taking the P at this point.
It's so overpriced that a PC may actually offer you more money. But that, I mean,
like $700, I think.
It's $700.
I think last time I checked, I think it was about $700.
Really?
Yeah.
Scalpers. PS5 Pro price.
Unfortunately, we see that in some Kickstarters and stuff too. People could be tricked into thinking the game is closer to done than it is, and in turn backing a project that hasn't even started. Yeah, there was a really cool game concept that was showcased, I think about a year or so ago. I can't remember the name of it, but I'll see if I can pull it up. But it was actually just turned out that it was using good graphics. It turned out to be a massive scam. Basically, people.
Oh.
It was
what it was called.
Where you swap between worlds and times, so you're like fighting somebody in the future, like a cyberpunk kind of environment, and then you can kind of on the fly swap to a ancient Egypt, and it was really cool. It had people really going for it, but it was just a scam to trick investors. But they used that graphical quality and also, I guess, the concept too, but to just trick people into buying it. But it was real bad.
Yeah, that's rough. We don't got no scammers in the chat, do we?
We got one.
You guys are...
Tim, you're a scammer.
Excuse me. Accusations. If I was selling PS5 Pros, I might be. $700 is kind of rough. I think the other thing, dude, this console generation has been so weird. Let me go on a rant about this a little bit. So COVID happens, right? And everything gets sold out everywhere. I actually was... On the day of the pre-order, I had an Xbox One X, Xbox Series. I always get those mixed up. Whatever the new one is, dude. People made that mistake too on Amazon. So the naming, Xbox One X's were sold out like everywhere.
Yeah,
and I feel sorry for those poor souls because the Xbox Series X was the new one.
Yeah.
So they're sold out everywhere, right? So 2 years goes by where you can't even get these things. Yeah. And then I finally get one, and it's like 2023. And I'm like, cool. And now they're talking about like the next generation already. And I'm like, what? Like, it seems it's been 3 years. Like, granted, it's been almost 5 years since they launched the console, but like, it doesn't feel that way because they were so unattainable for so long. And now, like, you've got the pros coming out at the end of the console life cycles, and it's weird for. I don't really know what you get with a PS5 Pro because you don't get like extra horsepower, right?
This is it. It's like, what do we need? Like next gen consoles coming out? Like it feels like they're not even waiting for the next gen at this point. They just release every time they have a minor graphical improvement. They just release another version of it with that minor graphical improvement and charge you $700. You know, is that it? I don't know. I don't know what more you get for $700. Is crazy.
Except for a few terabytes of storage. That's a good question. How much storage does it have? Because games these days, Call of Duty be like 320 gigabytes.
True.
Okay.
It's true.
Yeah, but like it's the Xbox is taking a different route too. They're saying, forget our consoles. What if you get Game Pass on like every device you own? There was rumors that they were going to bring Game Pass to PS4 or Switch or PS5. There was rumor they're going on mobile, right? You can play it on the Steam Deck. Like you can pretty much play Game Pass anywhere. So they're going a different route. They're kind of being a hardware independent route. Nowhere says 5 Pro storage. I mean, you can buy hard drives for these anyway, right? Like,
I don't know. I don't really know what's going on with it. I'm not a PlayStation gamer, but I know that it's getting ridiculous. I haven't actually bought the new Xbox yet. I'm an Xbox guy, but still haven't bought the Xbox One X.
That's
Xbox
the other
Series X. Sorry.
Yeah, because sorry to interrupt you, but because of the staggered console adoption, they have to sort of and because of the similar architecture between the One X and the Series X, most games come out on both. Yeah. Right? So then you have less incentive to even buy the next one because it's like your games are still coming out and they still run fine on the One X. So it's becoming, consoles were so important when they first came out, right? Because there's no like, you had a gateway PC in the corner connected to dial-up
Yeah.
But you didn't have anywhere to play it on your TV. Now that's not the case, dude. Even Netflix pops up now and they're like, hey, do you want to play this game if you take your phone out as a controller?
You can play games on the Amazon Fire Stick now and stuff like that. It's like,
it's
crazy.
So consoles are kind of they're in a weird spot. They don't really know what they are anymore.
Well, they're in a battle.
My dream is they're in a what?
A battle for sure. With streaming services and each other.
You said backhoe, and I was like, they're in a backhoe.
I don't even know what that is. Maybe don't type that in. Oh, okay.
No, Bim, this is a backhoe.
This is a backhoe, guys. Consoles are in
I'm not scared. He was like, maybe don't type that in Google.
You were so quick about it. I was like, Tim, that doesn't. Game dev.
All right.
So, Tim, I want to ask your opinion on something.
All right.
Speaking of recent Call of Duty, we kind of talked about this before. We kind of talked about the permanent games being permanently online, and you're not being able to play them in offline mode. Now, one of the advantages of that, per the developer, is that they say that by streaming the game all the time, by being constantly connected to the live service, games can be bigger because your console or your PC doesn't have to store all of the 4K textures and all of the models and everything. They can stream it from their data banks to your game as you play it. Do you think that's an excuse, or do you think that's a valid reason? Do you think we've gone too far now? It's an excuse? You think so?
100% an excuse, dude.
Really?
Do they do that? No.
They do.
Call of Duty is like, hey, what if I uncompress all of my audio files and just take up all of your storage? What if I like completely disregard your storage and just auto expand this entire download to take up your hard drive? I don't think they do that. They're not streaming textures. They're not streaming any of that from a server.
Well, look,
if you guys have a game that does this, please point me in that direction. I don't know.
Hang on. Wait a second. They do it. I've seen it. Have you ever?
Which games?
So listen, you ever been running around? So Call of Duty Black Ops 3, which came out in 2015, I'm playing the zombies mode and I'm running around and I can see the resolution snapping.
It's streaming from your drive, dude. It's not streaming from a server.
Okay, well, in that case, why?
There are read speeds that you're limited by. So if you have really high K, like 4K textures, and you're running around a world very rapidly, or you like turn a corner, you'll see textures pop in, right?
Right.
They're not streaming that from a server. They're streaming it from your drive. It's just like the drive didn't know to preload that fast enough. Or sometimes it can't preload it fast enough.
Right.
But if they're saying that like we need this like online game because we're going to stream you content, I think some of that is true. Like I think Fortnite does some stuff like that with like Eminem concerts and like all the weird stuff they do. But they also have the entire like Epic game engine company behind them, like to do whatever the hell they want, which I don't think is like not every game has Fortnite money, right? Not every game can have an Eminem concert in their game. So like I'm sure it does happen, but
Can I hijack the share screen for a second?
You can hijack it. Let me turn it off. Turn mine off.
Yeah, you see this?
Both course.
So why does
I do see all your ads?
You do see all my ads. Goddamn. Close that shit. Why does Call of Duty need to stream textures? Activision's answer is twofold, and then it allows the highest quality visuals while also reducing the game's overall storage space on your hard drive. But you think that's an excuse? You think?
Oh no, I think when they say stream visuals, I think they're not talking about servers.
Right.
I think they're talking about on device. I get streaming on a device. That makes sense. There's a lot of reasons why you want to do that, because like especially if you're like in like an Assassin's Creed type of game, and you can see far away, you don't want to load all that into RAM. You don't have the RAM to load all those textures in.
Yeah.
So you do want to stream textures from your device. I thought you meant like stream from server.
Well, but isn't that what they're saying? Is that you need a constant internet connection? You need to be constantly connected to.
That's not true.
No. Okay.
That's not true. There's plenty of offline games that do that.
Yeah.
There's plenty of old offline games that do that.
Yeah.
Like, a matter of fact, I think Unity and Unreal like do this out of the box. Like, it's not even a setting you turn on. It's like, it auto loads whatever you need, whatever you're looking at.
can't really use COD as a standard for game practices. No, you can't. But it's been a core point of contention recently. So I just thought we would bring it up. But yeah. So Tim, you wanted to talk about the Epic Games Store today, didn't you?
Oh yeah. Did you guys see this? You guys see the Fab thing? Let me hijack screen sharing from you, Bim.
Go ahead, Tim. You can hijack my screen anytime.
Okay. So echoes all day.
The list is not in the chat.
So another thing that happened, I got an email at midnight last night about Unreal Engine Fab. Have you guys seen this? So basically, Fab.com is going to be a merger of Unreal Engine Marketplace, Quixel, Sketchfab, and ArtStation Marketplace, all in one. It's fabulous. So this is cool. This seems like a take on like a universal asset marketplace, right? Which is actually kind of smart because Unity has the Unity asset store, which is cool.
Yeah.
But I've thought for a long time that like a marketplace where you can buy a bunch of different stuff can do well. And there's already a few of those, right? Like Sketchfab is a good one. ArtStation Marketplace. What's that other one? There's one I've used a bunch.
GameDev.tv assets.
Turbo Squid. GameDev.tv assets. They've got an asset store. You should buy their stuff.
Turbo
cool.
Squid, yeah. But I have heard of Turbo Squid.
Turbo Squid is one I use. So we'll see. I do really like the way Epic does things, to be honest.
Yeah.
I like that they're a private company. I like that they believe in what they're doing. I like they're using Fortnite money to fund like this like takeover of the game industry. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. To be fair to Fortnite and Epic Games, they have been and continue to be a giant. You know, they get a lot of hate, I think, because they're popular. But to be fair to them, you know, they've done it. They did it. You know. Yeah. So good for them.
So this is really cool. I think this is going to be exciting to see how this unfolds. Materials, plugins, templated maps, environments. I'm also want to see, because Unreal Engine Store is so well integrated into sort of the Epic launcher and all that stuff. I hope that it's a similar type of integration. I'm sure they will do it. Like I think Quixel is still going to be integrated within the editor and stuff like that, but Quixel, I don't know if you guys have seen Quixel. Quixel's pretty cool.
The creation of my assets from Marketplace to Fab was almost 100% automatic and with no issues. That's good to hear. If it works better than the Unreal Marketplace, I'm happy to give it a try.
Quixel.
What is this? This is Quixel? Bridge by Quixel?
Yeah, so I might be using this word wrong, but I forget. I'm pretty sure this is the tool that Kindred was showing off. But basically, you can generate all kinds of assets within Unreal Engine.
Wow.
I don't have a ton of experience with it, so I'm probably going to butcher it. But it's pretty sweet. We had a course on it that was pretty cool. That I poked around. But yeah, it was like you could generate like from 3D scans. Basically, they have hundreds of objects from like vases to rocks to all that.
Vertex Racers, by the way. Yeah, well, you're reading that too. Won't be free from next year. Interesting.
I mean, that it's pretty. I get why they would charge for it, but I also get why they would give it up for free. Like, it's a huge benefit to Unreal Engine, but at the same time, like, probably can be a huge profit center as well.
That's very interesting.
Free Megascan will not be only for UE. It will be free till the end of the year. Oh, okay. So they're bringing it to other engines, or they're allowing you to use it like, for other projects, which is cool. Interesting.
I mean, it's a very powerful tool. It looks like. So yeah,
there's a lot of powerful tools in Unreal. I've been wanting to get into it a lot because of the blueprint system. Like it's just so fleshed out now. And I tend to do a lot of visual coding anyway. So,
Tim, have you made your dream game yet? And would you make it in Unreal?
I don't know if I have a dream game anymore, to be honest.
No.
My dreams have been shattered by the indie game development.
Been shattered by age.
I think
time.
Yeah, Philophobia was a project of self-expression, and I feel like that was really important to get out.
Yeah.
Every game since then has just kind of been like, I want to make something interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I want to do. So I don't really have that thought and concept in my head of what that is. I just think my dream game would be something that a lot of people found interesting.
Yeah.
So I think that's still to come. We'll see.
Right. Because you're a big fan. I've noticed a lot of the games you've made, you've kind of pumped out a lot of weird and wacky and wonderful things. Kind of tech demos almost, almost proofs of concepts. You prototyped a lot. That's kind of what you like to do, it seems.
Yeah.
And,
I like interesting, unique, weird things.
Interesting ideas. Yeah, definitely. You've kind of had enough of going in for the long haul. Right? Yeah.
Well, I actually, as I've transitioned it to a hobby a little bit, like I'm not hardcore and trying to make a living on game dev anymore. And as that's happened, I think I've realized that like I enjoy the prototyping part of game development a lot more.
Yeah, the building.
I like getting things working and finding interesting ways to solve problems and coming up with interesting things. I don't necessarily like the slog that comes after that between that and launch. And I really don't think anybody does. I think there's some projects that are blessed with like a little bit of creativity spread across the whole project, right? I think some developers make that into their project for better or for worse. Like they're constantly chasing that creativity high. So they just add random shit to their project.
Would you... Do you think you'd ever work for a AAA company or for a company that made games? Or are you past that point at this point?
Not as a programmer or an artist.
Right.
But possibly as like...
Why not? Why not programmer?
Well, programmers and artists in big companies are not usually the ones that get to let their creativity fly.
No,
They're usually
true.
Like go in the corner and make this turn red. Like that's
no offense to anybody who does work for as a programmer.
Well, if you work as a programmer, tell me if I'm right. Like it's pretty like these are the tickets we need to get done. Do it. Like the creative director or some of the I'm sure there's smaller teams where it's a lot more collaborative. So I might work for a smaller team, but you're talking about AAA companies.
I suppose at this point maybe you wouldn't. I think I'd like to experience it once, just to know, how bad is it? What is it really like? Because I think I think indie devs, we slag off AAA companies a lot. I think we there's a general hatred towards them and pushback and all kinds of stuff. But I think I'd like to just take a peek into what's on the other side, for a minute. But it's probably just what you expect it's going to be, like you're saying. But I think it would be, I don't know. I'd be curious.
There's some. I mean, I'm sure there's some companies that have the right people, and the right people makes a huge difference, right? Because you get to hang out and do things. And I'm sure there's a lot of little freedoms. Like they're like, hey, we need a dragon for this section. You get to figure out how to make the dragon the coolest.
Yeah.
So there's stuff like that.
Vertex says Rick likes pain. For a second I got confused. I was like, why does Rick like pain? I thought that I changed my name to Rick on the stream. Rick loves pain. Yes. You can quote me on that.
That's okay. We're going to change your name back to Bim. How about we do that? I didn't even notice you changed your name.
Rick is not present, guys. Rick is not present. I am Bim. But Bim likes pain. I don't know.
He's backtracking now. He's like, dude, I did what?
Rick might, but I don't know if I do. But
how it works on business apps kills the joy on the job. I think same deal. It's like because we're I don't know if you guys know this, but we built our own platform, and we've got our own tech now running the course delivery system and all that for our GameDev.tv. And so we have a dev team now, and we have to continually build stuff. And even that, as exciting as it was in the beginning of like, oh, we're going to have the best course experience ever. We're going to deliver something that our students want. It takes a long time. And to get there, there's a lot of broken stuff along the way. And to get there, there's a lot of like, hey, this doesn't work. Hey, this is a bad experience, you know, and then we like disappoint people along the way, but we're trying really hard to like make the best thing ever. But even that is like, it's these 17 tickets is what it breaks down to. And then we just need you to do 5 tickets a day, please. You know, like, so it just kind of gets like cyclical. And some people like that. I think we try to do like project-based stuff. So like make this system really cool. And then that gives a little bit of creative freedom and a little bit of like how you want to tackle the problem. Ash, someone Chan actually works for us, which is pretty great. It's been awesome. So I think there's a lot of stuff that is really cool about it. There's a lot of stuff
you've been in complete you've been in pain from the website stuff. You know, you felt that impact, haven't you? You know, because it's, you know, the way it started, it was very exciting. But you're a mental health man. Yeah, you took a toll.
It's so much work, dude. We basically built a video streaming service from scratch. And I'm not even the one doing it, dude. We have a whole agency helping us out. Clean Commit is awesome. We got Tim, we got a whole team behind them. Like I said, someone Chan's been helping out. Gary, like a bunch of people have like contributed, and I haven't even like touched the code one time. Yeah. But still, it's like there's a lot of stuff, even if you don't touch the code. Yeah. There's like deployments and scheduling and tickets and management and stakeholder management too. Like,
managing the people who are touching the code.
Yeah, it's similar for live games too, right? Like at some point you launch the game and then you got to run the game. Like you got a live service game, you got to continually run the thing. Yeah. So I think a lot of game developers don't realize that they try to they look at game dev as a like a dream career, which it is, because it's kind of awesome to be able to creatively make something so technical. It's a good mix of those skills. But at some point, if you want to like make it a career, if you want to like make money off of it, then you need a bunch of other skills. You need business. You need to understand LLCs and taxes. You need to learn marketing to be able to sell your stuff. You need to learn, customer relationship stuff, because you need to like respond to that bad Steam comment. There's a bunch of that stuff around there that you don't get into business for. Like there's a really old book called The E-Myth, which if you guys are thinking of starting a business, you should read. I'll bring it up. But essentially, this book talks about that the person that creates a company to do a thing almost always is not the right person to run the company, because they're very much the doer of the thing, right? If you're an electrician that starts an electrician company, by default, you have the electrician skill set, but the business skill set is different than the electrician skill set. Right. And so,
but you see, is that why there ends up being such a sort of creative disconnect between, when you have a creative company like a AAA game dev company or whatever, there seems to be such stark difference between what you're sort of marketed and sold and what the devs want to do and what the players want. And you always kind of think, well, why is that? Are they just money hungry? Are they just they're not listening? But really, maybe, as you've just said, because the devs, the people who sort of creatively know what to do, aren't the people who are sort of qualified to run the company. So ultimately, am I coming again the right angle?
Yeah, I think, because here's the thing, dude. You can make something creatively awesome and you can fail in business. Yeah. Like that happens all the time. There's a Star Trek quote that's like, you can do everything right and still fail. Like that's part of the learning journey. And so I think there's a lot of creative teams that have tried to succeed and they can make a really cool thing. And there's definitely some examples of people that have succeeded, which is cool. But there's a lot of like random stuff that you got to do, man. You want to make a cross-platform game, you got to apply for like a Nintendo license on Switch, and you got to get a dev kit, you got to get approved for all of that, and you got to manage that relationship, right? And then you got to like just that alone is a lot. But then you take Xbox and PlayStation, and then you take like accounting, right? Like managing the money that you have coming in. Somebody's got to pay taxes. Right? Like somebody's got to file this stuff. They got to know what things to file. They got to know what's an expense and what's not. Like,
and the person who set about to try and do all that stuff isn't the person qualified to do that stuff generally, right? If you're the dev,
it's not even just qualification; it's also interest.
Right, of course.
Yeah, creative interest. Like people that are creative generally want to create stuff, and there's a lot of things in business that just needs to be done every day or every week or every month. And so there's some people that are passionate about that stuff, which is why partnerships really work out sometimes, right? Because it's like business marketing admin guy partners with creative cool product guy.
So that's us.
like Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, right? It's like you had a tech nerd that wanted to build a computer, and then you had a guy that was really good at selling computers. Right.
Like, I mean, there was some. I don't know if they're the best example. They had some clash. They fell out, I think, but
no, right? They fell out personally, but they had a successful company.
Right, that's true.
And Apple needed a Steve Jobs because Steve Jobs, and I'm not saying he's the best example, or whatever.
No, I get it.
Plenty of problems with it, but he needed somebody. Computers were so boring at the time, dude, and he thought that he may not have touched code or he may not have done any of this, but he sort of revolutionized the way that computers work because he just thought they should be different. Like it's just they should be more people friendly, right? And computers weren't trying to be people friendly; they were trying to be business friendly.
Kelly says, I think, welcome by the way, Stepan, I see you. I think Linus has found a good balance. He hired a CEO, but he's still making decisions for the company, but less paperwork and all that. Well, yeah, that's what you're saying, Tim, isn't it? About that partnership. If you can find that, then keep it. For sure.
Talk about tech tips, Linus Tech Tips.
Didn't he come under some controversy? Am I thinking of somebody else?
They made a how to de-Googlify your life, and it got removed from YouTube. That was pretty funny. Like Google kind of owns this site, dude. But that's a good example. I think he's still, and from what I don't know anything about the dude, but from what I see just watching the videos, it seems like he's just more of a other people write the script, other people come up with the video ideas. He just kind of shows up as like an actor and like makes creative decisions for the company, which is cool. But I mean, he's talked about that struggle before too, right? Like I think he had didn't he have a CEO that didn't work out or something like that too? Like before this?
Yeah. There's been all sorts. I'm not super up to date on it, but I know you're a big fan of him, Tim, though, aren't you? Linus Tech Tips.
I like the channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a cool channel. It's just
curious if she wants
why there is a C level and not just one dude. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, reading comments like you. Kira said, I want to do the business side, just decent at coding and could get a job doing that. But you wanted to do the business side. That's interesting.
I think my what?
No, maybe I just finished a sentence prematurely. What were you going to say?
I was going to say daywalkers are
okay, that's not what I was going to say.
Legendary. Yeah. Like, listen, if you can walk the light in the dark, you are an extreme asset. Okay? Because as Pawn brought up, creative people have a hard time being creative when they're being told how to be creative. When you're a business person, by default, you don't generally talk well to a creative person, right? Yeah. It's like marketing and like programming don't usually get along because it's like marketing is like, yeah, we should have 7,000 widgets. Programming is like, bro, we only got 4 servers, right?
Yeah.
So like, if you know a little bit about the jobs that you're working with, tremendously helpful. I think that's been a huge asset in my life because I'm a jack of all trades. Like I don't have any deep skill sets in any specific area, but I have a wide range of like knowledge in certain areas. So when it comes time to talk to a programmer and artist, I know how to get them to work well together, right?
Yes.
The artist needs the sprites in a sprite sheet at 32 by 32 in a very specific format. Having done that, I know that. So there's not like a big miscommunication mix up when I, program something different that works differently. And I've actually had this with, I've had good and bad examples of this working on our platform and stuff too. Like there's some communication that could have been better because I didn't have the experience doing the thing that we were doing. And so my communication wasn't the greatest. But then when I had experience doing the thing, it looked a lot better.
Somebody said, but can the button be blue? Which is obviously funny as it is because we know that kind of feedback. And then the writer goes, but can the orange be yellow? Fantastic. Well done.
Can the banana be yellow?
Can the banana be yellow?
That's a callback.
That's a callback.
In stand-up comedy, that's called a callback.
Crazy people have a hard time. Jobs know how to sell it without selling it. Yeah. It's tough. I mean, Tim, would you say you failed to communicate that?
Would I fail to communicate what?
Yeah, I mean, have you ever failed? Between those branches, right? You've got an artist, you got different branch over here. You're trying to communicate them. Have you ever really struggled? You ever thought, oh, you know what? They just don't get it. I can't communicate.
I've struggled my whole life, man. That's why. Why do you think I got all these skill sets, dude? It's not because I'm like, hey, let me pick up a new skill set. It's because like people haven't understood me my whole life.
Yeah,
I've had so many miscommunications with so many people that I was like, what if I just like got really good at talking? And I don't even think I'm there yet. Like I try really hard because like I have been misunderstood so many times.
Well, it's interesting. In the UK, I don't know if this is still true, but in the UK, recently we've been suffering from a lack of science teachers, but specifically physics teachers. And the reason for that is that one of the reasons for that is because, as one of the comments says, Bo the Infamous says that the people who are sort of smart enough to understand science to that high level of a degree usually aren't the kind of people who are really effective communicators and teachers and charismatic, people. And so what you have is this disconnect. You have, well, we need to teach these kids science and physics, but then you have all the people who are good enough to do that aren't good at communicating that. And so, being a really effective science communicator or teacher generally is really a valuable skill that you can take these heavy concepts and bring it down to kids.
100%. I also think that there are different types of brains that work differently. And I think some kinds of brains aren't compatible with other kinds of brains. They're like, we all know the person that's maybe a little blunt, a little rude, right? They're just like, I think that's a dumb idea. And you're like, whoa. Don't tell Frank that, or whatever.
Yeah.
You need those people. You need those people because those people are going to tell you the truth. And they're going to be authentic to you every time. Yeah. But a lot of times they get segmented away from groups because, like, it's not socially acceptable, right? Like, oh, they make us feel bad. Like, they're not trying to make you feel bad. They're just being honest about what they think. So there's a lot of, like, neurodivergence or different types of personalities or different types of brains. And you notice this with science and math and stuff, too. Sometimes there are certain types of brains or personalities that gravitate towards those subjects. But just like the E-Myth in business, like, they also might not be the best at teaching subjects, or they might not be the best at like inspiring people that are not like them. It is a different skill set. Like, teaching is a whole different skill set than learning, right? So we've learned this with GameDev.tv. Like, our instructors have to be able to make videos. They have to be able to have good audio equipment for good audio. They have to know a subject, and they have to be able to teach the subject. And one of the things we realized is knowing the subject is actually the least important part of that whole equation. And the reason is because when you're a really good expert, like let's say you've been in physics for 10, 15 years, teaching someone that's brand new to physics, they're going to be like, what the hell is a quark?
Well, right. Yeah. And you
don't know that.
It's like, I remember my first driving lesson was with my mum and my dad, actually both my parents, and they forgot what it was, what I didn't know, was I knew nothing, and they were like, oh, well, you need to do this, you need to find the bite point, you need to change. It's like I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Like,
what's that word mean?
Yeah, exactly. So
people that have just recently learned a game engine, for example, and they have the audio equipment and they're good teachers, and they have the video equipment. Those are actually the best teachers for our beginner courses, because they just made that typo in that programming language, and they're like, oh yeah, make sure you don't forget the semicolon, right? Because I did that and then it didn't compile. And beginners absolutely love that stuff because they also forgot the semicolon, right? Whereas the expert doesn't even realize the semicolons are there anymore. It's just doesn't see them.
Yeah. And I've been it's been frustrating because I've been taking a course or following a tutorial, and the instructor I'll be getting a completely different result, and I'll go back through it and I'll be like, what am I missing? And what it'll be is that the instructor will have done something really important, but sort of almost subconsciously, and they'll have pressed just one button or clicked an icon somewhere.
Right.
They don't say they've done that they've forgotten, because it's something to them that I don't have, and it's like I had to really find that. So if you can become good at communicating every single thing you do down to the details and make sure you do this, it's incredibly valuable. But I just wanted to put
who's a legend at that, by the way? Grant Abbott. Yeah. I was going to call him that. He is fantastic at teaching that stuff.
Yeah. But just before we wrap up, because I know we've got a few minutes left, I just wanted to get, Tim, your opinion on this. John McDowell
yeah, go ahead.
Is Gary here? Gary, can we get a salute? Salute for the goat. Talk about the curse of knowledge. No, Gary, we know you're cursed with knowledge.
Gary's the resident wizard.
Listen, all of our courses, they go through Gary. He triple checks everything.
He's the course wizard. So he has all the knowledge.
He does.
In all of our course libraries. Between him and Mark, they're like the course wizards.
But John McDowell asks, slight tangent, does GameDev.tv have any thoughts about expanding courses to the business side of game dev? Which I thought was really interesting. Tim, any thoughts? Yes.
Ask me if we could talk about it.
Can we talk about it, Tim?
No.
Okay. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. But you heard it here. Yes, we do. So we'll get back to you, John McDowell.
Yeah, there's some stuff coming up that we don't quite know what form it'll take, but we wanna expand the non-technical side of game dev, business, software, all that stuff. So
right.
See, probably looking at next year sometime, realistically though.
But yeah, had a note about semicolons on my whiteboard for the first 3 years of coding. Head developer loved it. That sounds real nice. It's hard to find people who teach a subject and not just how they do things. Growing out my wizard beard. Hell yeah, Gary. Hell yeah.
Wizard beards are where it's at.
They are.
I don't have any gray hairs, so I don't have a wizard beard yet.
You just
It's not like I pull them out once a week. I don't do that at all. I just don't have a wizard beard.
Well, I mean, if it was gray, you would. But, yeah.
But it's not gray, Ben. That's the point. It's not gray.
It's you're right. I've been stumped.
I'm a young whippersnapper. That's how things go.
Young whippersnapper. I don't know anyone below the age of 45 who uses that word. So just
I'm below the age of 45 and I just used that word. So
you are.
I don't know how old you think I am, Bim, but I'm not that old.
At least 60, maybe 65 somewhere. Guys, how old do you think Tim is? Can we get that before we leave?
No, we're not. No.
Put a number in the chat.
No.
How old do you think Tim is before we leave?
And on that bombshell, time to end.
I better see some 30. I better see some 25s in there, guys. He's
I'm yellow. That's how old I am.
And on that note,
did I just change the punchline of your question?
You did.
How does that feel, Bim?
It was really bad. I'm going to rage quit the stream. We're done. Stream ending. We're done. None of that.
All right. Before y'all start posting my age, we're going to get that out of here. Thank you, Vertex.
17.
Okay, Kelly.
39.
Okay.
38. We got some serious answers in here. Tim's feeling offended that they're all.
Some of you are getting banned.
Tim, have you heard of a streamer called Queso? You look a little like
No. I look like Queso.
Guys.
You know who my wife and okay, I've been recognized in public as a celebrity. You guys got to guess which celebrity it is.
Hang on, I'm gonna share my screen for a second. You look like Queso. Guys, doesn't he look a little like Queso? That could be Tim.
That could be me. You'll never know. You'll never know.
He has a fandom? Queso Wiki?
Okay, I'm gonna hijack this. You know who else apparently I look like is Luke Combs. Because I've been recognized in public twice now. Wow. And someone's like, "Are you Luke Combs?" And I'm like, "Thank you, man."
I think he was in the American like song contest or something.
He's a country singer.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I like two different people at two different places have asked me if I'm Luke Combs.
Damn.
So I haven't figured out how to monetize that yet. I don't know if
just
I haven't figured out. Maybe Luke Combs lookalike. I don't know. Like, we'll see.
And like Thanos with his gauntlet, half the chat disappears. Did we say something? We said something. Oh no, guys, come back. No, we're wrapping up here. But anyway, thanks for hanging, everybody.
We appreciate you coming out. We'll be here next week. I hope you will be too.
Oh, guys, we have not posted about it yet, but on Monday, we might. Tim, am I allowed to talk about this?
I don't know what you're going to talk about.
You know where I'm going.
What's happening?
In the private chat for 1 second.
Oh, the thing with the person? Yeah, you can. Yeah. Go ahead and get that scheduled.
So we're going to get that scheduled. If you guys have heard of Tomo, I don't know if you guys have heard of him or not. He's an ex-Treyarch developer. He's got a lot of AAA experience. He will be giving, well, we hope. It may not happen. Probably going to happen, but we haven't scheduled it yet and stuff. Probably on Monday, he'll be giving a talk in the Discord if you guys are interested. So if you guys aren't in the Discord, probably are, join. But he'll be giving a talk, giving a presentation. I'll be there. I'll be hosting it with him, taking questions and stuff. So if you guys have any questions you'd like to ask ex-AAA dev, come along. So that's going to be real cool.
After we talk shit about AAA.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We got AAA dev coming in, guys. It's
that was awesome. He I thought was the creative director on Spider-Man 2, I think it was.
Was the old one, not the recent one.
Yeah,
not the recent Spider-Man.
Yeah, but he's got a lot of knowledge. He's a really knowledgeable dude. I like the dude a lot, and
he's a real cool guy.
Chat with peeps.
Yeah.
But all right, have a good night, everybody. We love you. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Oh yeah.
Bye, all wizards in chat.
All the wizards.
All of the wizards. Where are my banana people at? Banana, banana, banana.